All right, so I have a daughter who's transitioning. She started this years ago. She's 16 now, and she hadn't even gone through puberty yet, and she was starting this idea that she was born in the wrong body. And I just feel like it's very harmful because, medical or biological transitioning doesn't even show the peak suicide rates until 7 years after. So a person who is going through puberty and having a difficult time has a 99.9% survival rate or a 0.1% suicide rate. But a person who medically transitions, to the other gender has a 47% higher suicide rate than any other normal kid who goes through puberty. And so I've been talking to my ex-wife about this. I just wanted to make a point because if I send her a 2.5-minute read on text message every 2 or 3 months, she says I'm overwhelming her and she doesn't want to hear about it. And my point was maybe she's going to a gender-affirming therapist, which isn't possibly the best route to go when somebody is facing other underlying mental health issues, of which both my family and my ex-wife's family both have a major history of psychopathy and suicide. My brother committed suicide, my wife's grandfather committed suicide, and there's a lot of other mental health problems that go on in our family. And so a lot of this, if not all of this gender dysphoria epidemic or issue, whatever that's going on in the world, isn't that the person's born in the wrong body. Most of the time, if not all of the time, there's an underlying mental health issue. It could range from ADHD, bipolar, even schizophrenia, and most trans people are autistic, studies show. But I just wanted to play this, and then I'll just go through my ex-wife's and mine last conversation on this.
Had this happened just 20 years ago,
Thank you.
I wouldn't have been able to give her blockers, and she would have had to go through male puberty. That terrifies me.
It's all done. Do you want a hug?
I don't know that she would have survived male puberty.
This will knock you over. The chances of this boy committing suicide, as found in the only long-term study that followed 324 transgender people, indicated that the height of suicide is 7 years after the completion of medical transition, leading this child into the highest demographic in society today to commit suicide. So note to mom, the facts are this boy had a 99.99% chance of making it out of puberty, going through it naturally, and now he has a 47% chance of committing suicide by the age of 18. These are facts. Good job, Mom.
And so now just to recap here, because, I just want to put this out there for not only my own situation and family, maybe my daughter will read this, but other people who are going through this with their kids and don't know how to respond. This is what I have had to say. So I've said, let's see. Oh, now you're still going. Stop. I refuse to argue with you anymore. You just stop. Let's see. What was it that she was saying that I go into a tirade. She refuses to go over and over. This BS is done. Addressing accusations. I have to hear a third party, so I bring it to you to address. I prefer not to include these parties, honestly. But again, I have heard this claim about me always being X, Y, and Z, and I disagree. But then, of course, if I make an accusation, I can then provide the receipts. I refuse to make baseless accusations, either directly or via gossip. Oh, wow, you're still going? Stop. I refuse to argue with you anymore. You just never stop. It's weak. I don't know. The last time I wrote her was freaking months ago, so aside from Christmas, but anyway. And I'm just talking about the kids. She says, I know it's your style just to overwhelm people with text. See, I wrote her, on Friday, and now it's Sunday, so it's been a couple of days. I sat down and I thought about some things, and then I found some evidence and I sent it to her. Anyway, I know it's your style to overwhelm people with text, blogs, and videos when they don't agree with you. However, you can't rant me into a corner anymore. I no longer depend on you, so I don't have to pretend to agree with you to keep the peace. Does James have a lot of trauma and baggage? Yes. Are they in treatment? Yes. the plain fact is that trans people are at risk whether they transition or not. They are at a higher risk when they are made to feel badly by family members. I have made the choice to support James as they wish to be present. I love them as my daughter. I love them no less as my son. I do not care how you feel about it. That is your choice. Stop badgering me. I said, send overwhelming texts and videos. You say that when I send you 2.5 minutes of reading about a serious issue with our daughter. 2.5 minutes every few months is not an overwhelming thing, as you say. In fact, most of the time, I don't know why it corrected it to say bone, but this autocorrect kills me. Anyway, in fact, most of the time, you have said that it was, that was never true. My point is, in a long-winded 2.5 minute read, is not to argue. If I make a blog post, it is because I don't like the back and forth, or later the he said, she said. You always say, if it doesn't look good later, you delete your post, but that is provably untrue. The magic of archive.org is the proof and the pudding. Anyway, it is true that studies show that sure, transitioning makes people feel better immediately after, but the same studies show that the suicidality doesn't hit until approximately 7 years later. And that is why my blog post that is what my blog post will be about. She has mental health issues, and they are hereditary. She was not born in the wrong body. She just needs to approach the issue with the knowledge of her family history with mental health issues, is my point of view on it. All typos. Yeah, I will just make a video. This keyboard is too small for my fat fingers, and my eyes are not great, so I'll just make a video or a blog post. But I was just saying, that perhaps, I said, I'm writing a lengthy blog on this research, including how many, most, or maybe all people with gender dysphoria have serious and often untreated mental health issues that present as gender dysphoria. You think I'm picking on you because you have direct family members with serious mental health issues, including psychopathy and suicide. But I admit that I have the same. I'm not singling you out. I'm just saying it has this from both sides. I do not think that it is the cure. I do not think the cure is permanently altering her biology. I think that it is something else that can help. I think there is something else that can help. And maybe a gender-affirming therapist isn't the best type of help to go to. It's easy to dismiss me with the catchwords like bigot or Trump supporter and ignore the facts, but this isn't easy, Kim, and this isn't an easy issue, Kim, and it's dangerous, and it's a dangerous issue too. Anyway, she went on and on, but no, I rarely write her, and when I do write her, I went through Natural Reader just to calculate how long it would take to read my these right here. This is what I wrote. And Natural Reader says this is a 2.5 minute read. She says that that's a lot of text and I'm never going to read. Stop. So it's not a lot of text. It's 2.5 minutes worth, and it's about a very serious issue with my daughter.
Gender dysphoria of the type that you described is relatively rare, but if you leave kids alone till they're 19 or 18, 80 to 90% of them settle into their biological identity, although about 80% of them are also homosexual in their orientation. The pathway for him, before this was all politicized, was you'd have a child who was gender non-conforming temperamentally, somewhat like you were. You didn't have a pattern of female interests, and then prone to depression and anxiety, and then that combination would produce this gender dysphoria, and that would become quite intense around the dawn of puberty. But if you just backed the hell off and waited, those kids would settle into their body, but generally adopt a homosexual orientation. So, a while back, Disney executive mentioned on video, she said, well, I have two children, 5 and 7, and one is trans and the other is pansexual. And I just thought mathematically right away, it's like the chance you have a trans kid is 1 in 3,000. That's not a very high chance. And let's say the chance that you have a pansexual kid is the same, whatever pansexual means. I don't even know how to calculate those odds. But whatever that is rarer than trans, because no one ever even heard about it until 5 years ago. So the joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're a pathological narcissist sacrificing your own children to the glorification of your compassion is 8,999,999 to 1. So, like, do you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid, or are you a devouring mother?